The alarms would not stop screaming. Admiral Sung stood on the bridge of the Celestial Dawn and watched his fleet die. Through the massive, he could see the Dominion warships tearing through his defensive line like wolves through sheep. Explosions lit up the darkness of space. Each one was a ship. Each ship held 1,000 souls. "Admiral, we have lost the Victory's Light and the Star Guardian," Lieutenant reported from her station. Her voice was calm, but her hands were shaking. "The Dominion fleet is breaking through Sector 7. Sung closed his eyes for a moment. Sector 7 was the last line before Velar Prime. 4 million civilians lived on that colony world. Mothers, fathers, children, all of them waiting for an evacuation that would never come. "How long until reinforcements arrive?" he asked. 6 hours, sir." 6 hours. They had maybe 30 minutes. The Dominion had come with 300 ships. Sung had 92 when the battle started. Now he had 41. The enemy commander, a brutal warlord named Vex, had planned this attack perfectly. He had waited until the Union fleet was spread thin. He had struck when help was too far away. "Sir, the colony shields are at 12%, another officer called out. "They cannot take much more." Sung walked to his command chair and sat down slowly. He had served the Galactic Union for 40 years. He had fought in 12 major battles. He had never lost. But today, he would not just lose. Today, he would watch millions die because he could not protect them. "Open a channel to Union High Command," he said quietly. "I will record a final message." Turned to look at him. There were tears in her eyes, but she nodded and began working on her console. Then every sensor on the bridge went crazy. "What is happening?" Sung demanded, jumping to his feet. "Sir, I do not know," stammered. She was staring at her screens with wide eyes. "There is a spatial distortion forming. Something is coming through, but the signature does not match anything in our database. It is not Dominion. It is not Union. It is not anything." On the space itself began to twist and bend. A tear opened in the fabric of reality, glowing with strange blue light. And from that tear, a ship emerged. Sung had seen many ships in his life. He had seen the massive dreadnoughts of the Dominion. He had seen the elegant cruisers of the elder races, but he had never seen anything like this. The ship was 3 kilometers long. It was angular and sharp, covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift and move. It was painted in dark colors, black and in deep blue. It had no flags, no markings, no identification of any kind. It simply floated there in the middle of the battle, silent and still. "Identify that vessel," Sung ordered. "I cannot, sir. Every scan comes back the same." Looked up at him with confusion and fear. "It just says, unknown." Unknown. In a galaxy that had been explored for 10,000 years, nothing was truly unknown anymore. Every ship, every species, every world was and recorded. But this ship existed in no database. It belonged to no one. The Dominion fleet had stopped firing. Even Warlord Vex seemed uncertain what to do. His voice crackled over the open communications channel. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself immediately. You have entered a combat zone. State your allegiance or you will be treated as hostile and destroyed." There was no response. The unknown ship just floated there, watching. "This is Warlord Vex of the Dominion Empire. I am giving you one final warning. Identify yourself or face the consequences." Still nothing. Sung leaned forward in his chair. His heart was beating fast. Something was about to happen. He could feel it in his bones. Then slowly, the unknown ship began to move. It turned toward the Dominion fleet. Panels along its hull slid open, revealing weapons that made Sung's tactical computers scream warnings he had never seen before. "Sir," whispered, "those energy readings, they are impossible. No ship should be able to produce that much power." On the Dominion command ship, Warlord Vex made his decision. "All ships destroy that vessel, now." 200 Dominion warships turned their weapons on the unknown ship. Plasma cannons fired. Missiles launched. The darkness of space lit up with enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Every shot hit the unknown ship directly. Nothing happened. The ship did not explode. Its shields did not flicker. It simply absorbed everything the Dominion threw at it like a stone taking rain. Then it fired back. Sung could not understand what he was seeing. The weapons were not plasma or missiles or anything he recognized. They were beams of twisted light that bent space around them. They were spheres of darkness that collapsed everything they touched. 3 Dominion cruisers simply folded in on themselves and vanished in the first 2 seconds. By the ancestors breathed, "What is that thing?" Sung did not answer. He could not answer. He just watched as the unknown ship cut through the Dominion fleet like a blade through water. It moved impossibly fast, bending and twisting through space in ways that broke every law of physics he knew. The Dominion ships tried to run. They tried to fight. It did not matter. Nothing they did mattered. Then, for the first time, the unknown ship sent a message. It appeared on every screen in the system, Union and Dominion alike. Just 2 lines of text in perfect galactic standard. "We are the humans. We have RETURNED." Sung felt his blood turn to ice. Humans, Earth, the dead world, the species that was destroyed 300 years ago, the species that was supposed to be extinct. They were not extinct. And they had come back. Captain stood on the bridge of the Silent Dawn and watched the Dominion fleet burn. He was a tall man with hair and tired eyes. Those eyes had seen too much. They had seen the recordings of Earth's final days. They had seen children grow old in the darkness between galaxies. They had seen hope die and be reborn 1,000 times. Now they were seeing something new. They were seeing the beginning of humanity's return. "Dominion fleet is in full retreat," Commander reported from her station. She was younger than him by 20 years, but her face carried the same weight. Every human carried that weight. It was the weight of what had been done to their people. "Shall we pursue?" Shook his head slowly. "No, let them run. Let them tell their masters what happened here today." Around him, the bridge crew worked in silence. 2,400 humans served aboard the Silent Dawn. They were the descendants of those who had escaped Earth's destruction 300 years ago. They had been born in the void between galaxies, raised in a ship that was their entire world, trained for a day they were never sure would come. That day was today. "Captain," the communications officer said, "the Union flagship is hailing us. They want to talk." "Not yet," turned away from the, "Let them wonder a little longer. We have waited 300 years. They can wait a few more hours." He walked off the bridge and into the corridor beyond. The Silent Dawn was more than a warship. It was a city. 10 decks held living quarters, schools, hospitals, parks with artificial sunlight, and farms that grew real food. Children played in those parks. Old people sat on benches and told stories of a blue world they had never seen but could never forget. Walked until he reached the Memorial Hall. It was a large circular room at the heart of the ship. The walls were covered with names, millions of names, every human who had died on Earth, recorded and remembered. He stopped in front of one section of the wall. His hand reached out to touch 2 names carved into the metal. His mother's father. They had put him on the escape ship when he was 3 years old. They had stayed behind to buy time for others to flee. He did not remember their faces. He only had pictures and recordings, but he remembered the feeling of his mother's arms around him. He remembered his father's voice telling him to be brave. "I kept my promise," he whispered to the wall. "I lived. We all lived. And now we are going to make sure they remember what they did." Footsteps approached behind him. He did not need to turn around to know who it was. "The crew is celebrating," said softly. "First victory in 300 years. You should be with them." "I will be, soon." did not take his eyes off the names. Do you know why I chose today? Do you know why we revealed ourselves at this battle? Because innocents were going to die. Because you could not watch another world burn. Yes, he finally turned to face her. The old hegemony destroyed Earth because they thought we were dangerous. They said we were too aggressive, too unpredictable. They called us monsters and murderers. And then they killed 8 billion people to prove their point. His voice was calm, but his hands were shaking. We could have stayed hidden. We could have built our strength for another 100 years. But I saw those Dominion ships attacking that colony, and I saw Earth all over again. Different species, same evil. The strong destroying the weak because they can. Nodded slowly. So we showed them that the weak can become strong. We showed them that justice has a long memory. Started walking again and fell into step beside him. But this is just the beginning. The galaxy will know about us now. Some will fear us. Some will hate us. Some will want to finish what the hegemony started. Let them try. Smiled for the first time. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who had prepared for war his entire life. The Silent Dawn is just one ship, but we have 12 more waiting in the void. 12 ships, each as powerful as this one. 30,000 humans trained and ready, and we have something else. What? The truth. He stopped at a window that looked out into space. The stars shone cold and distant. We have recordings of everything, the hegemony's lies, their secret meetings, their orders to destroy Earth. We have proof of what they did and why they did it. When the galaxy sees that proof, everything will change. Was quiet for a long moment. Do you think they will believe us? Some will not, but it does not matter what they believe. What matters is that we are here. We survived. We built. We learned. He turned to face her fully. My grandfather died in the first year of the Exodus. My mother's ship was destroyed by pirates when I was 12. My first wife died giving birth to our son because we did not have enough medical supplies. Every human alive today has a story like mine. We have paid for our survival with blood and tears and generations of suffering. His voice grew harder. Now it is time for the galaxy to understand what they created when they tried to destroy us. They did not make us extinct. They made us stronger. They made us patient. They made us into exactly the thing they feared. The ship's intercom crackled. Captain to the bridge. The Union fleet is asking to send a representative to meet with us. Took a deep breath. 300 years of waiting. 300 years of hiding. 300 years of preparing for this moment. Tell them we accept, he said. It is time for humanity to rejoin the galaxy. He walked toward the bridge at his side. Behind them, the names on the Memorial Hall wall seemed to glow in the dim light. 8 billion souls waiting for justice. Their wait was almost over. The battle lasted 11 minutes. In those 11 minutes, the galaxy changed forever. Admiral Sung stood frozen on the bridge of the Celestial Dawn, watching something impossible unfold before his eyes. His tactical displays could barely track what was happening. The human ship moved too fast, hit too hard, survived too much. 3 more Dominion ships destroyed, Lieutenant reported. Her voice had gone flat with shock. The human vessel is, sir, I do not have words for what it is doing. Sung understood. He did not have words either. The Silent Dawn was not fighting like any ship he had ever seen. It did not stay at range and exchange fire. It did not form battle lines or use tactics. It simply moved through the Dominion fleet like a predator through prey, destroying everything it touched. Its weapons were terrifying. Beams of twisted gravity that crushed ships into balls of metal. Spheres of absolute darkness that swallowed missiles and fighters whole. Pulses of energy that passed through shields like they did not exist. But worse than the weapons was the way it moved. The ship bent space around itself. It would be in one place, and then it would simply be somewhere else. No acceleration, No visible movement, just a sudden shift that left targeting computers helpless. Dominion gunners fired at where it was, but it was never there anymore. Warlord Vex is ordering all ships to concentrate fire, said. 200 vessels targeting the human ship. Sung watched as the entire Dominion fleet turned their weapons on a single target. Plasma cannons, missile batteries, rail guns, energy lances. Everything they had all at once. The Silent Dawn did not even try to dodge. It took every hit directly. The space around it lit up with explosions and energy discharges. For a moment, the ship disappeared behind a wall of fire. Then the fire cleared and the ship was still there, undamaged, unharmed. Its shields had not even flickered. "That is impossible," whispered. "No shield technology can withstand that kind of firepower." But Sung was beginning to understand something terrible. This was not about shield technology. This was not about weapons or tactics or training. The humans had spent 300 years in exile. 300 years with nothing to do but build, learn, and prepare. They had technology the galaxy could not even imagine. And now they were showing the galaxy what that meant. On the Dominion command ship, Warlord Vex was screaming orders. His fleet was dying around him, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. "Fall back, all ships fall back. Retreat to the jump point." But the Silent Dawn was not going to let them retreat. The human ship accelerated. It shot forward so fast that Sung's sensors lost track of it for a full second. When they found it again, it was in the middle of the Dominion formation, surrounded by enemy ships on all sides. "What are they doing?" gasped. "They are going to be destroyed." They were not destroyed. The Silent Dawn spun in place and fired in all directions at once. Weapons that Sung could not understand lashed out at every Dominion ship within range. 10 ships died in that single moment, then 20 more, then 30. The Dominion formation collapsed into chaos. Ships crashed into each other trying to escape. Captains abandoned their posts and fled to escape pods. Crews surrendered over open channels, begging for mercy. The human ship stopped firing. It hung in the middle of the wreckage, silent and still, surrounded by the broken remains of an invasion fleet. 283 Dominion warships had entered this battle. 17 remained, all of them damaged, all of them running for their lives. "Dominion fleet is in full retreat," reported. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely operate her console. "The human ship it is letting them go." Sung let out a breath he did not know he was holding. His legs felt weak. His heart was pounding in his chest. He had just witnessed the most one-sided battle in galactic history, and he still could not believe it was real. Then the communications panel lit up, an incoming message from the human ship. On screen, Sung ordered. A face appeared a human face. A man with hair and tired eyes, wearing a uniform that looked nothing like anything in the galactic database. "I am captain of the human vessel Silent Dawn," the man said. His galactic standard was perfect, without any accent. "I apologize for the dramatic entrance. We have been watching your fleet's brave defense for some time. We could not stand by and watch innocents die." Sung found his voice. You are human from Earth." "From what was Earth, yes." Something dark passed across the captain's face. "Our was destroyed 300 years ago. We have been in exile ever since, hiding in the spaces between galaxies, but we never forgot who we are, and we never forgot what was done to us. The galaxy thought your species was extinct. That is what we wanted the galaxy to think, until we were ready." Captain leaned forward slightly. "We are ready now, Admiral. We are ready to rejoin the galactic community. We are ready to reveal the truth about what happened to Earth, and we are ready to make sure nothing like it ever happens again." Sung's mind was racing. This changed everything. The political implications alone were staggering. A species thought extinct for 3 centuries returned with technology that made the greatest powers look primitive. "What do you want?" he asked. Captain smiled. It was not a threatening smile, but it was not friendly either. It was the smile of a man who held all the cards and knew it. "Right now, I want to save these colonists. The Dominion may return with a larger fleet. Let us work together to evacuate them to safety. After that, we can talk about the future." He paused. "The galaxy has many questions for us, I am sure. We have many questions for the galaxy as well. 300 years is a long time, much has changed, but some things have not changed. Humanity is still here, we are still strong, and we will never let anyone try to destroy us again." The transmission ended. Sung sank into his command chair and stared at the Silent Dawn was already moving toward Velar Prime, ready to help with the evacuation. 11 minutes. That was all it had taken. 11 minutes to destroy a fleet, save a world, and reshape the future of the galaxy. The humans had returned, and nothing would ever be the same. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Within hours, every major civilization knew what had happened at Velar Prime. An unknown ship had appeared. It had destroyed a Dominion invasion fleet in minutes, and it was human. The word itself sent shockwaves through governments, militaries, and populations across 1,000 worlds. Human, Earth, the dead planet, the extinct species. The cautionary tale that parents told their children to teach them about the dangers of aggression and violence. Except now that tale had a different ending. In the Great Council chamber of the Galactic Union, the highest leaders argued and shouted at each other. Some were afraid. Some were angry. Some were excited. All of them were confused. Counselor sat at her desk and listened to the chaos around her. She was the youngest member of the council, only elected 2 years ago, but she had studied history more carefully than most of her colleagues. She knew the truth about what had happened to Earth, even if that truth had been buried and forgotten. "We must destroy them before they destroy us," one of the elder counselors shouted. "The hegemony was right to eliminate them. They are dangerous." "Destroy them," another counselor laughed bitterly. "Did you see the battle recordings? One ship defeated 300. How do you propose we destroy them?" "We must reach out to them peacefully," said, standing up. The room went quiet. "They saved our colony. They could have let the Dominion kill 4 million of our citizens, but they chose to help instead. That tells us something important about who they are." "It tells us they wanted witnesses," the elder counselor snapped. "They wanted the galaxy to see their power. This is a threat, not a kindness." "Perhaps," replied calmly. "Or perhaps they are not the monsters our ancestors claimed they were. Perhaps we should actually talk to them before we decide to start a war we cannot win." The argument continued for hours. In the end, the council voted to send Admiral Sung as their representative. He had been there. He had seen the humans in action. He had already spoken with their captain. 3 days later, Admiral Sung's shuttle docked with the Silent Dawn. He had been nervous during the entire flight. What would he find aboard the human ship? Soldiers, weapons, the vengeful survivors of a genocide hungry for blood. What he found was a city. Captain met him at the docking bay and led him on a tour of the ship. They walked through corridors that looked like streets. They passed homes with families inside. They saw children playing in a park under artificial sunlight, their laughter echoing off the metal walls. "I expected a warship," Sung said quietly. "The Silent Dawn is a warship," replied, "but it is also our home. For 300 years this ship and others like it were all we had. We could not live like soldiers in barracks. We had to build a life, raise families, create a culture. Otherwise, what were we surviving for?" They walked in silence for a while. Sung watched the humans going about their daily lives. They looked so normal. Mothers carrying babies, old men reading books, young people laughing with friends, nothing like the monsters from the old stories. Your people destroyed our world, said suddenly. His voice was calm, but there was steel underneath it. Your species, the Velar, voted in favor of Earth's destruction. Did you know that? Sung stopped walking. His stomach turned to ice. I knew that my ancestors were part of the old hegemony, but the records of that time are sealed. We are told only that Earth was a danger that had to be contained. Contained, laughed, but there was no humor in it. Is that what they call killing 8 billion people? Containment. He led Sung to a room filled with screens and holographic displays. With a few commands, he brought up recordings that made the Admiral's blood run cold. He saw Earth as it had been, a blue and green world full of life, cities that stretched to the horizon, ships that traveled to the stars, a species reaching out to join the galactic community. Then he saw the meetings, the secret gatherings of the old hegemony, where leaders from a dozen species discussed what to do about the humans. They talked about fear. They talked about competition. They talked about eliminating a rival before that rival could grow strong. They never talked about evidence. They never talked about crimes. They simply decided that humanity was too dangerous to exist. The final recording showed Earth's last day. Thousands of bombs falling from orbit, oceans boiling, continents burning, 8 billion voices crying out and then falling silent forever. Sung was weeping by the end. He had not meant to cry, but the tears came anyway. He had been raised on stories of human violence and human aggression. He had been taught that Earth's destruction was necessary, even merciful. It was all lies. We were not monsters, said quietly. We were just young, new to the galaxy, eager to make friends and explore the stars, and we were murdered for it. I am sorry. The words felt pathetic, useless. I am so sorry. Your apology means nothing. You did not give the orders. Your ancestors did not even know the truth. Turned off the displays. But the galaxy will know the truth now. We will show these recordings to every civilization that will listen. We will make sure that what was done to us is never forgotten. What do you want? Sung asked. Revenge, war, destruction. No, shook his head slowly. We want what was taken from us. Recognition, territory, a seat at the table. We want to live in peace, raise our children, and build a future. We have been homeless for 300 years. We are tired of wandering. He looked at Sung with those tired, ancient eyes. But we will also never be victims again. Any species that tries to harm us will learn what we learned in the darkness between galaxies. We learned patience. We learned technology. And we learned that survival sometimes requires the willingness to be more terrible than your enemies. He extended his hand, a human gesture of friendship Sung knew from the old records. The Union can be our friend or our enemy. I hope you choose to be our friend, but we will survive either way. Sung looked at the extended hand. He thought about his ancestors and their crimes. He thought about the lies he had been taught. He thought about the children playing in the park on this ship, innocent and hopeful despite everything their people had suffered. He took the hand and shook it. I cannot speak for the council, he said, but I can speak for myself. I want to help make things right. I want to be part of building a better future. Smiled. For the first time, it looked like a real smile. Then welcome aboard, Admiral. We have a lot of work to do. The galaxy held its breath. 1 week had passed since the Battle of Velar Prime. 1 week since humanity announced its return. 1 week of chaos, fear, and desperate negotiations as every major power tried to figure out what to do. Some wanted peace. Some wanted war. Some simply wanted to pretend that nothing had changed. They were about to learn that everything had changed. Captain stood on the bridge of the Silent Dawn and watched the countdown on his display. In 30 seconds, the galaxy would see the full truth of what humanity had become. All ships report ready, Commander announced. In 20 seconds. 12 ships, 12 vessels like the Silent Dawn hidden across the galaxy for decades, watching, waiting, preparing. 10 seconds. Thought about his parents, his grandparents, his great-grandparents who had fled Earth with nothing but the clothes on their backs and a desperate hope for survival. They had built these ships. They had developed this technology. They had sacrificed everything so that one day their descendants could stand in the light again. 5 seconds. Today is for them, whispered. Now. Across the galaxy, 12 human warships appeared simultaneously, one above the Dominion capital world, one near the old hegemony, one at the great trade hub of the Union, one at each major strategic point that mattered. Every civilization saw the same thing at the same moment. Ships that should not exist, built by a species that should be extinct, positioned perfectly to demonstrate both power and restraint. The message was clear: we are everywhere, we have been watching, we chose not to attack. But we could have. Within hours, everything began to change. The Dominion sued for peace. Their empire had been built on the belief that they were the strongest power in the galaxy. That belief died at Velar Prime. Now their leaders scrambled to make deals, offer concessions, do anything to avoid becoming humanity's enemy. The old hegemony successor states faced a different problem. They were the ones whose ancestors had ordered Earth's destruction. When the recordings from ships spread across the galactic network, public opinion turned against them. Their own citizens demanded accountability. Their own allies stepped back. And in the Galactic Union, Counselor gave the speech of her life. For 300 years we believed a lie, she told the council. We were told that humanity was dangerous, that they were monsters who threatened galactic peace, that their destruction was necessary and just. She held up a data chip. This chip contains the full recordings from the human archives, meetings, communications, orders. It shows that Earth was not destroyed because humans were dangerous. It was destroyed because the old powers were afraid of competition. They murdered 8 billion people to protect their own position. The council chamber erupted in chaos, but was not finished. The humans have returned. They have technology we cannot match and ships we cannot defeat. By every calculation, they could conquer us all. Instead, they saved our colony. They offered friendship. They asked only for recognition and a place among us. She looked around the chamber at her fellow counselors. What does that tell us about who the real monsters were? The vote was close, but in the end, the Union chose peace. Admiral Sung was appointed as the official ambassador to humanity. A new seat was created on the council, reserved for a human representative. 3 months later, the first human embassy opened on Union space. Commander was chosen to lead it. She stood at the opening ceremony and looked out at the crowd of alien faces watching her. My grandmother was born on the Silent Dawn, she said. She never saw a planet except in pictures. She never breathed air that was not recycled 1,000 times. She never felt rain or smelled flowers or walked on grass. She paused. She used to tell me stories about Earth, about oceans so big you could not see the other side, about mountains that touched the clouds, about cities where millions of people lived and laughed and loved. She had never seen these things herself. She only knew them from her mother's stories, and her mother knew them from her mother's stories. Smiled, and there were tears in her eyes. Today, for the first time in 300 years, a human is standing on an alien world as a friend, not a refugee. Today, my grandmother's dream comes true. Today, humanity comes home. The crowd applauded. Not everyone was happy about this new reality. Not everyone trusted the humans. But change had begun, and it could not be stopped. 1 year later, Captain walked on Velar Prime for the first time. It was a beautiful world. Green forests, blue lakes, cities that sparkled in the sunlight. Children played in the streets and their parents watched them with peaceful eyes. A normal world, living a normal life, because a human ship had chosen to save them. A young girl ran up to him. She was Velar, with the silver skin and dark eyes of her species. She could not have been more than 6 years old. "Are you a human?" she asked. Knelt down to her level. "Yes, I am." "My mother says humans saved our planet." The girl tilted her head curiously. "Why did you help us? We are not the same species." Thought about the question. He thought about Earth and the exile and the long years of darkness. He thought about hate and revenge and all the ways his people could have chosen to return. "Because we know what it feels like to lose your home," he said finally. "We did not want anyone else to feel that pain." The girl smiled at him. Then she reached out and took his hand. "Thank you," she said. "Do you want to play?" Laughed. For a moment, he was not a captain or a warrior or a survivor. He was just a man holding a child's hand, standing in the sunlight of a world he had helped to save. "Yes," he said, "I would like that very much." Above them, the stars shone in the afternoon sky. Somewhere out there, human ships patrolled the trade lanes, and human diplomats negotiated treaties, and human children grew up on a dozen different worlds. Earth was gone, nothing could bring it back. But humanity remained. Humanity survived. Humanity had found its place among the stars at last. And the galaxy would never forget the day they learned what the children of Earth had become.